Back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. We're talking about love and what is love? What has love done to me? What is love doing to you? Let me just tell you a little bit about love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, we've heard that before, and we got to ask ourselves, well, what the heck does that mean? Do I have to go out and give what I have to other people? I mean, I love my car. I mean, I got me a nice PT Cruiser. Does that mean I got to let Karen drive it? Well, as a matter of fact, I do let her drive. But does that mean I got to share it with other people? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love thy friend as thyself. What does that really mean? Um, I don't have the answer, but I like how the other opposite way of looking at that golden rule. And I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if we picked it up on this broadcast. And that is, whatever you find hateful to yourself, don't do to another. So if you don't like something being done to you that you find unpleasant, don't do it to another person. And that's kind of like one of the commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not do something that you would feel hated or bring hate towards you. And that is showing love. It's refraining a lot from doing things, from hurting people. Thou shalt not do something that's going to hurt another person. Now,
Why is one of our viewers asking, why is to love better? The whole current world situation is saying pretty much essentially that hate is better. Why
look,
is love better?
look at where the world is. The world is using a variation of hate. Now, I don't want to use the word hate. I really don't like that word. I think we glorify stiff competition. We elevate people who can get the job done. We want to be number one. We want to win, and sometimes at all cost. I think perhaps, no, I know, that is based on ego. That is based on an individual wanting to do for himself or herself. That's what it's based on. It's not based on sharing. Love is sharing. I mean, I'm talking about sharing with a friend. I'm talking about starting small. I'm talking about smiling at the person you see on the street. I'm talking about allowing a
Is it
person in a
about
car to get in front of you.
sharing objects, material things? What kind of sharing are you talking about?
I'm talking about every way that you know from your heart is love. And I just gave you a few examples, and that's just saying hello to the person who is working in McDonald's that perhaps is cleaning the tables because they don't have the education to get a higher job, or they've come from a country where um,
What about a rich man or a criminal? Should I love them?
well, you have to love everyone. Now, what about people that do harm to you? Now, here's something called a hero. And let me just read this to you, and this might answer the question you have. A hero is someone who loves everyone. A hero amongst heroes is someone who has turned his enemies into his beloved. And in spirituality, it's someone who has transformed his egoism in the service of others. That's the hero. And, I don't see myself, I don't know of anyone who's really a hero. I hear about, someone turning the other cheek. I heard about Christianity, turning the other cheek. When I was studying Buddhism, they went even further. They said, look, when you have an enemy coming after you, you treat him like a gem. What do you mean a gem? You treasure that enemy because you can learn so much about yourself. I couldn't follow that. I can read it, I can maybe intellectualize with it, but how can I learn from an enemy? And that's difficult. How can I turn the other cheek? I'm up here telling you things that I can't practice. I have a lot inside of me that I need to have corrected. And
One of
that,
our
go ahead, I'm sorry.
one of our viewers is asking, who should make the first move? Who should make the first step? Is it me, and why? The same thing goes for countries. You were talking before about borders. Who should make a first step?
The individual, you. Your country will have to deal with the politics.
But what do I make a step toward?
You do it small. You do it with your
Do
neighbor.
what?
You be nice. You be kind. You be gentle. Instead of the opposite. Instead of always being in the rush. Instead of always placing yourself.
But isn't that my nature, as you were saying
It is
before?
your nature.
So I need to go against my nature.
You need to ask for help to correct what the nature does to the world.
Ask who for help?
Well, there is a belief in a force that governs everything. Now, some people will call it the law of nature itself. Some people call it a God, a creator, whatever it might be in charge of the cosmos. It could be the karma that is rising in Buddhism if you don't want to believe in a God or a creator. It could be the change that is necessary so that all can reach enlightenment at the same time.
Michael, can I interject here?
Sure, go ahead.
It seems like you're saying to a certain extent that you're talking about unity and connection. You brought in this idea of like we're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So that hatred or is this kind of, or not loving is a kind of separation where we're not connected. And that love is somehow about renewing that connection. You were talking about cells in the human body. Now, the way to renew that connection is to come towards each other. The big question you leave open is how do you make a step toward another? Now, I think one of the previous shows we had where we were talking about how everything is within the power of thought and intentions is possibly a way that you can make that next step to answer my question.
Excellent, excellent. You bring up an excellent point about the intention. You have to have the intention to become closer to another individual, to a friend. You have to bridge the gap between your basic human nature and where a correction will lead you to. And what do I mean by correction? We have to go against our basic human nature, and that's a selfish human nature. I hate to use the word malevolent, but sometimes we just look out for number one at the detriment of number two, that other guy. We can change the world, but we have to do it with small steps at a time. And we have to do it through like-minded people. Try it with people who feel the same way you do, or people that, look, you wouldn't be here unless you were searching for something. You're seeking something. You're looking for answers. Go to people who are also seekers, who are looking for the answers, and try out loving them first. And in small ways. And then you can try it out on the world. And what I like to do is I forgive that son of a bitch that doesn't use his turn signal when he's in front of me. I give it to 10 people. And I forgive 10 different guys. And, you know, I get up to around 5 or 6. But I feel good because I know there might be a reason why they're not using their turn signal. Maybe it's broke. But I get so angry. I say, that son of a bitch, man, I always use my turn signal. Why can't he be as holy as me, sanctimonious? That's my PTSD. I mean, you know, if there's going to be a rule, we got to follow the goddamn rule. I didn't mean that, goddamn. Now, but you know what I mean. And what was the other point that you had, Karen, about hate? Okay, the opposite of love is hate. And how can we really recognize love without knowing the opposite of what it was? And I'm on not too solid ground. I don't like hate, but I know I have rage inside of me. I know there's 2 people that I have hated in my life. One was a lieutenant colonel in Vietnam who was fragged by his own men. Fragging means that someone threw a hand grenade. One of the U.S. troops threw a hand grenade at this lieutenant colonel, and I wanted him to die. Another was a judge in Philadelphia who forced me to, well, I shouldn't say it. He was relieved, taken off a jury when he had forced a doctor to sit in the very next day because the doctor said he had a hardship. You got a hardship? All right.
We get your point,
you don't have
Michael.
to sit. All right.
Do you have any closing remarks?
Closing remarks is that try love one little step at a time. It'll work. It really will. We love you, and we look forward to talking with you again. Thank you.